Hello and welcome to part 2 of this little mini series where I try and make this mid-1920s tuba work a little bit better. On the last episode we did some work around the bell to try and get rid of the crinkle that was there, and we also used some magnetic ball dint removal techniques to straighten out the bottom bow here a little bit. Today we're going to fix or attempt to fix the issue with the second valve guide. Now, valves in a tuba such as this are called piston valves, and they are designed to go up and down. See, the valves have got little pathways that go through them which connects all this various tubing up, so it creates a single pathway of air through the instrument. When we press down a valve, we add an extra loop of tubing through to the instrument which lowers the pitch, and by doing so we can get more notes. So with this tuba, the second valve does not have a valve guide. It is broken off at some point in the instrument's history. So as a result, it twists round and around unceasingly, meaning that the holes in the valve do not line up with these pathways of air, and as a result the instrument doesn't function. So today we're going to try and resolve that situation. Firstly, we can see what the current valve looks like versus what one of the other valves looks like up on the top. You can see that there's clearly a tab missing. The original valve guides were held in place by a couple of brass pins. As these are no longer connected to anything, one of the first steps will be to drill what's left of them away so that we can put new pins in their place. I'm going to use this scrap here as my sacrificial piece of brass. Heating it up with a torch will soften the metal and make it easier to hammer the metal flat-ish. Ponk, 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 ponk. Now I need to drill a couple of holes to receive the new pins, and I'm going to check that the distance is correct by matching it against the holes in the valve. Now, as I don't have any brass pins, what I need to do is make some. So I'm going to head over to my metal lathe and make some pins. Now, I don't really have any idea of the right size, so I'm just going to sort of do my usual approach of rough enough is good enough. Snip. Snip. Now I need to solder those pins in place. So I'm going to stick everything on a piece of modelling clay that I had left over from a previous video. I'm going to put the pins in place and then try to solder it. Now, I'm not very good with soldering, and I'm using a very low temperature torch so that I don't risk setting the house on fire or anything like that. Now, there's a lot of leftover solder from this process, so I need to tidy this up. Now that it's all filed and cleaned up, we still need to make sure it fits, so I am just going to check again. And then, as you can quite clearly see, what we've got is far too big to use for a valve guide, so I need to chop it down to size, and then I need to do some more filing. Click. The file that I'm using has got a flat on one edge, or called a safe edge. That's so I can ensure that I'm not whittling away any material that I don't want to go. So after about 7 years of filing, we have now we've now got this. This is a valve that is getting a little bit closer to something that we can use. This is the cleaned valve. It looks quite nice. It actually seems to be made of copper, which is a bit of an interesting choice. Time to see whether it fits. That was a bit of an effort. I have never done that before, so I'm actually quite surprised that not only does the valve fit and function, but it's actually got less lateral or twisty movement than any of the other valves, so it actually fits a bit tighter. I'm genuinely pleased with that effort. I didn't know whether I could do it. I mean, it's not particularly difficult work, but I've just never done it before, so I'm very delighted that that works. Please stick around for part 3, which will be released at some point after I've recorded and edited it. And in part 3 we're going to be taking this messy old but now functional tuba and we're going to be making it clean again.